Today I'm joined with Mohammed Hassan. Uh, के आज हम women rights, domestic violence और हमारे किसी बात करेंगे. So basically, we will talk about women rights first, and then we'll talk about honor killings, and then we'll talk about domestic violence and how it has affected people in Pakistan mainly. So Mohammed, uh, first I would like to ask you something. Can you share some recent developments in women rights in Pakistan?
Uh, yes, I can share some recent developments. So there's been multiple developments in Pakistan, but they've not been happening fast enough. But the ones I can name are, for example, people must have heard of the Benazir Income Support Program. It was
Yes,
a social safety program for widowed women whose husbands have died
yes,
for helping to help them financially. There's also been the establishment of gender-based violence courts recently to target issues such as sexual assault, etc. And recently, a lot of bills and laws have been passed, such as the workplace protection law, which protect women from harassment in the workplace. But still, Pakistan
yes.
faces a lot of challenges.
That is right. Along with that, Pakistan also faces legal and social challenges, which include main legal challenges women face in Pakistan. What do we have to say about the main legal challenges and the cultural norms which impact women's right and opportunities in Pakistan?
I think there's a lot of legal challenges that women have to face. A lot of these issues have to do with the fact that women oftentimes need a male partner and a man to accompany
Yeah,
them because of cultural norms, etc. Women aren't allowed to move freely in the country.
yeah,
Other than that, uh, there hasn't been a lot of lawmaking happening in terms of helping women and specifically targeting certain issues for women, such as domestic violence. It has improved. So, for example, the recent laws of marital rape, etc. But
yes,
there's a lot of laws need to be made, and those are the legal challenges. As for cultural problems, I think that is the main issue, and women need to tackle that cultural issue as first because a lot of it is due to the subcontinent culture, the fact that people are educated, people uh, don't have a lot of awareness, such as people do in the West, which is why Pakistan is behind other countries.
in terms of education and employment too, we'll talk about now. Basically, people here in Pakistan don't get the rights which they deserve in terms of education and employment, and the government does don't have a stand especially for women here. So, what would we say about the progress that has been made in women's access to education, and how can employment opportunities for women be improved?
I think the progress for women's education has been significant. There's been a cultural shift in Pakistan where more and more people, especially in the rural areas, are more willing to accommodate women in terms of providing them education. People and families have now started seeing the value that women can provide when they're educated, and a basic level, a primary and secondary education is being provided to them. So when they're young, to at least eighth grade, women are starting to get more and more education. However, we still need to make more strides in those areas. Employment opportunities, I think, again, that is also linked to education. The more educated women get in Pakistan, the more employment opportunities they have. But other than that, the government can also enact a lot of programs such as quotas for women in parliament and reserved seats. We already have those. So ensuring that women have access to workplaces in politics, in companies, etc. I think that can help us. And obviously, companies also have to start taking responsibility and having corporate social responsibility. All of those things will help uh, women get education and employment.
Yeah, yeah. Pakistan is like known for not administrating the healthy and safety of all the people which live in Pakistan. So, what can you say about the primary health issues that women are facing, like pregnancy problems, and how are they being addressed? And secondly, what measures are in place to protect women from domestic violence in Pakistan and and other things like sexual harassment, etc. What do you say about that?
I think health issues are obviously a big issue, not only for women, but for the entire country, but it impacts women more significantly than it does other communities like men. I think there's multiple reasons for that. So, as you know, Pakistan is a country where there's a lot of diseases, where we don't
Yes.
necessarily have the best public health services, which obviously means that, also there's a lot of heat in Pakistan. The weather does not necessarily help, which means that women
Yes,
face a lot of health problems, compounded by
yeah,
the fact that women have unique health issues such as pregnancies, such as sanitary pads, etc. A lot of these health problems oftentimes go unnoticed, and that's one of the biggest issues that women face. Recently in 2021 or 2022, I'm not exactly sure, there were floods in Pakistan, and in during those floods, a lot of women who were affected by those floods did not have access to a lot of basic sanitary products such as sanitary pads, etc., which obviously compromise their health. So I think those things can definitely be improved. As for helping women, I think obviously Pakistan still remains one of the worst countries in terms of the global ranking on women rights issues, etc. But Pakistan is trying to make progress in those areas. So, for example, I already
yes,
mentioned that we've established uh, we've established gender-based violence courts. We've also established women police stations and progressive court judgments. Recently, we also have one of the Supreme Court judges is a woman. Uh, so a lot of these and policy frameworks are being employed, but we still need to make a lot of strides to ensure that the progress we are making continues and does not fall.
that's so that is something that Pakistan is really struggling with. The legal challenges, social challenges, health, safety, and etc. etc. Now, I've also talked about the political participation of women in the past, but what will you say about the what would your say be about participation in politics evolving, and what barriers still exist from women's individual roles? As you have been debating for Pakistan, you might have some knowledge about how women's participation in politics is affecting, and how in future what barriers they are still facing that are not being addressed.
Um, in terms of participation in politics, I think there's definitely been an increase. So Pakistan has been home to a lot of female politicians. I'm sure you know of Benazir Bhutto, etc. Even in the
Yeah.
status quo, there's a lot of women in leadership roles, etc. So Pakistan definitely
Yes.
has a lot of women in leadership roles. However, that is just one or two people, or that's very a select few of people who belong to privileged backgrounds. I think for a large majority of women, the sad reality is that politics is deemed as an occupation which is primarily for men, because men are seen as the breadwinners, etc., and are supposed to be the leaders and the representatives of the household. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that women's participation in politics is uh, less than men. However, it is evolving. I think the reserved quota seats, etc., is definitely helping, and I think more and more parties are encouraging women to join their parties, etc. So I think it's definitely improving.
Yes.
But there still exists a lot of barriers. I think the cultural barriers and the education barriers we've already talked about, those are one of the primary reasons why women aren't able to break through the glass ceiling and participate in politics. The women, as you can see in current status quo, the women who still do participate in these leadership
Yes.
roles, these are women who are from privileged backgrounds or have a lot of education, which is why they are able to participate. However, those barriers are largely linked to all the problems we've already discussed. So I think
Yes.
the political participation is just a symptom of that. If we fix those underlying root causes, I think political participation automatically improves.
Well, you're lagging a little bit.
Uh, I think we can move forward in the interview. It's fine.
Yes. So what will you say? What can you say about the future outlook for women in Pakistan, in regards to the promising initiatives and projects that are aimed in Pakistan, if they are any, and how can we envision the future of women rights in our country?
Well, I think we aren't necessarily in the best place right now. So women face a lot of issues right now, and it's not necessarily an ideal place to be for women. However, there are a lot of changes and a lot of prospects for women in terms of, if you see all around us, there's more and more talk of uh, measures, and there's a lot of political will for measures to be implemented which ensure the safety of women. Like we've already seen, the agendas have been shifting. There's a lot of political push. So, for example, we see the Aurat March, etc. a lot of these movements are initiatives and projects which are empowering women,
Yes.
and the government has started to take notice of that as well because they obviously have to cater to their voter base. I think more and more people need to be more aware, and if that happens, I think the future can improve. I think there's no point in making in like painting an apocalyptic picture that there's no possible future for women. I think there definitely is, but we need to be significantly devoted to the issue of women rights. And if we continue to be devoted to that issue, and focus on it, I think we can definitely make
Yeah.
sure that Pakistan becomes a safer society for women.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it, I think, for women rights here. Uh,